2 years ago, I posted a video about this. This is my budget Bugout bag, my budget go bag, and I did a review of it. I definitely knew I needed to change a few things about the Bugout bag, but I got distracted because my first ever video that went viral was right after that, and that was my 2-day survival challenge out of this bag. And really pulling the bag out of my truck for the first time in like months was pretty sobering. It showed how little attention I'd given to it. And then doing the 2-day challenge also was very sobering because I really learned some things that I was lacking and some things that could be taken out of the Bugout bag. And so I did this challenge where I spent 2 days surviving out of this bag, hiked many miles through my off-grid property and all around the area, having a little scenario that I was to get back here to safety. And it was hilarious, the response. One, because a lot of people got really upset and, oh, you couldn't survive, one night doing nothing. That's not a real challenge. And I would just simply say, have you tried to survive out of just a Bugout bag? Not a camping bag that you packed ahead of time, but legit put to test the things that you say you need? And the short answer is 99% of those people have never done any of that stuff. But I will say that I got like 300 or 400 subscribers like that. And so it really helped propel the channel forward. And shout out to some of you who have hung around since then. But today my job is to review my bag. It's still the same as it was then, but I have some additions to it that hopefully will elevate it and make it even better for a Bugout or get home scenario. So let's get into it. So if you're new to survival, this is what's called a Bugout bag or a get home bag. And its purpose is to get you from one place to another. It is not to survive out of indefinitely. It is simply a go bag. It is something that you can grab quickly, get out of where you are to get to where you want to be. So this bag that I got is a cheap, I think it was from Walmart bag. I like the olive green color. It blends in well, so you're not standing out like crazy. And it just has one sling. And so it's very lightweight, very modular with the MOLLE straps on here. Very easy to just throw on your shoulder and get out. And this is a Toyota Tacoma, which means I have no space, no extra space, and I can hide this away very easily. I'll show you about that here in a minute. But this is what a Bugout bag is. So what goes in it? I'll show you what I have in it right now and then a few additions that I'm going to have. So let me quickly review what I have in here right now and then what I'm going to add to it. So first thing that I have is this right here, which is an emergency reflective blanket. It's this exact same thing. I used this as my shelter for my overnight challenge with the bag the first time. And my big takeaway from that trip was to add a second one to wrap around myself and one to reflect the heat back from my fire. And then I have an emergency poncho, just another way of creating a shelter. I do have quite a bit of first aid here. This is my main kit, which has just antiseptic stuff, bandages. I actually use this quite often. This was loose because I'd pulled one out a little bit ago just because I always feel like I need a Band-Aid. And it gives me an excuse to actually open up the bag. In this, I have a bunch of survival stuff. I have antiseptic cream. Condom is a great way to store water. It has a million uses in a survival situation. Earplugs, I feel like, are a must. They help me sleep way better when I'm outside. Random things like that. And then I have a snake bite kit. I've never used it. I hope to never use it. But here in West Tennessee, we do have cottonmouth, water moccasins, and some other venomous snakes. And then probably something that no one really ever talks about in survival situations, and that is this, a tampon. This is basically like a gauze on steroids. It has a million uses for wound care, and it's good just to have one if you're married there in the truck. I have this. This is a microfiber towel that folds out, and I use this to wash my face and hands pretty often. I have water purification tablets here. I also have a Life Straw water bottle, which is great. You just scoop water out of a creek and it'll filter it automatically. This is my fire starting area. I'm going to come back to this in a second, but multiple fire starting uses. This goes with my knife. A lot of people hate on this knife. I don't know why. It is an incredible knife. I keep it very sharp. It has one continuous piece of metal, so it doesn't fold in half. So there's a lot less likely of a chance of something failing. Also in this is a little guide here. That's pretty useless, but on the inside is a knife sharpener, so you can sharpen your blade. It also has a flint built into it, and it has an emergency whistle. This thing is high and loud. This is my one piece of kit that I feel like I take with me everywhere I go. When I'm in the backcountry, I just throw this on my belt and I'm on my way. It's awesome. So haters gonna hate, but it's a really great piece of kit. I have some tissues for blowing my nose, cleaning up after I'm using the restroom, things like that. I have some sunscreen here and some insect repellent. This is a Rite and Rain pad, and so it is completely waterproof, and this has been outside a million times and it's still being held up really well. I have a little bit of food. You can cold soak ramen for some quick and easy calories and a Cliff Bar. And then finally I have just some paracord, and this is, I think this is 300 pound. It's not super thick, but enough to hold up a tent. You can make a tourniquet out of it. You can trap animals with it. There's 1,000,001 uses. The orange, I may change this to olive green in the future just to be a little more incognito. So I've got basically half a dozen things that I'm going to add to the bug out bag. The first, which I thought was in there, but I didn't actually find it in there when I was looking last time, is a compass. This is a very simple compass. This thing may weigh half an ounce. It weighs next to nothing. I've got a bunch of these from Scouts and other survival stuff that I've done in the past. So easy piece of kit to throw in there, because when you're out here, I'm here at the off-grid property right now, there's pretty much no cell signal. And so you can't just rely on your phone. And in case of an emergency, there's a chance that the cell signal stuff won't even work. So that was very easy. I got an extra granola bar. I tend to be in the backcountry a ton, so I keep snacks in my truck. And every once in a while, I have to pull one out of my bug out bag. And so whenever I have an extra one from like a conference or something that I go to, I just throw it in the bag. Next is this. This is a game changer in my opinion. This is a butane lighter, which means it lights up, I don't know, 10 times hotter than a regular Bic lighter. It does have to be refilled from time to time, but it just lights so much hotter and it makes things so much easier to light. So I'm going to keep this full with just Zippo lighter fluid. They sell the fuel for it, and I just keep it full all the time. Next is this. This little thing is a Streamlight flashlight. And this is the ProTac 2AA, because it takes AA batteries. And you may look at this and think, that is absolutely ridiculous. Why would you keep such a small flashlight? Here's what I will say. One is that Streamlight specifically is just a no-nonsense brand. Everything just works. And let me tell you, I have shined this on deer after I've shot them from 200 yards away, and you can see it. It's insanely bright. And here's what I would tell you about flashlights specifically in a survival situation. A lot of them get really fancy with what battery it takes. And they have these CR125, 123, all these weird size ones. And I would just say this takes 2 AA batteries. And so in a survival situation, it's easy to find AA batteries, really hard to have. It would stink to have an amazing flashlight that you can't even use because you can't find the batteries anywhere. So this Streamlight flashlight is going to be my big daddy for for my bug out bag. And this thing weighs, I don't know, just a couple ounces. So it doesn't add a ton of weight to the pack. I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about taking my Life Straw water bottle out and just replacing it with a Life Straw. This would give me a lot of extra volume inside the pack should I want to use it. So these are great. They work great, and it just requires a little more work to actually get down to the water source if it's a puddle or something like that. The next piece of kit that I'm adding to the bug out bag is this. This is my Ruger 380. It is the LCP Max. I want to say this is like $250, $300. It was not much at all. This is a great gun. I like it for many reasons. One, because it is so small that it weighs very little. You can carry it in your pocket. This holds 10+1 rounds, and so it is very lightweight, even with the magazine full. But what I like about it is I have just average size hands. They're not big, they're not small, but when I wrap my hand around it, let me show you, my pinky actually touches the bottom of the gun. And a lot of these smaller guns, it's like this, and it's hard to feel like you're actually getting a good grip on it. And so this, I think, is a great survival gun. It's more than a 22, less than obviously a bigger gun, but I think it's just enough for self-protection. It doesn't have a ton of weight. I've literally hiked 30 miles with this in my pocket, and I don't even notice that it's in there. And so great for backcountry hiking, personal protection. If you're in bear country, I think this is a good bear gun. Some will probably disagree. I mentioned this last time. I thought I had a headlamp in my truck, and I have them all over the place, but I couldn't find one. And my biggest lesson, honestly, from reviewing my bag last time was that I just don't look in it enough. I make assumptions that things are in there. And so I either need to get everything in there and never touch it, or I need to regularly review what's in there and make sure that it has everything that needs to be in there. And so my final piece of kit is this. This is a headlamp, and it's funny. I feel like I've really made it as a YouTuber because I had a sponsor reach out to me and they said, hey, if we give you a free headlamp, will you review it? The company is called Leaphanie. I think that's how you pronounce it. There is no branding on the box of the company, which makes me think it's probably from China or somewhere overseas. And I think they say this is up to 1 million lumens, which is absolutely ridiculous. I have no clue if it's even going to work, but I got it for free. And so I'm going to review this and add it to my kit and see if it's worth having in my bug out bag. All right, so this is what it looks like. A few first impressions. One, it's interesting that the battery pack is on the back and the headlamp is on the front. This thing is really heavy. It is beast mode. It does have multiple modes on it. It has a light, a very quick strobe, a regular strobe, and I think that's it. Let's see what it feels like on. All right, you can adjust it. I definitely feel the weight in the back. I need to get this thing tighter. It feels way better with a hat on. The heaviness of this now rests on the brim of my hat, which is interesting. So it definitely feels way better with a hat on. We'll go on a little night hike and I will show you, how it works. All right, so sunset 20 minutes ago, and I wrapped up filming some fireside chats here. And so you can see a little bit still. I think the camera's doing a little favor, but let's turn this thing on and see. As you can tell, it's very circular, but man, this thing does work. And then what's crazy is you pull out the front and man, it'll get like super focused. Like what you're seeing is the actual light. So you can zoom it in. It's very weird. Wow. You can really see out there. So I'm walking down the old logging road here at the property, and you can see there's a little bit of light left in the sky. But I want to share with you a feature that I have never seen on a headlamp. There is an infrared sensor on the front. And so I'm holding the camera with my left hand. There's my right hand. Just take your hand and whoosh, wave it, and it goes off. Wave it again, it comes back on. Wow, it really lights up the creek at night. So what are my thoughts on the Leaphanie headlamp? Overall, it's pretty cool. It is heavy, keep that in mind, but I think the batteries will last eons. It has a cool zoom feature and has some cool settings where you can just wave your hand in front of the sensor and turn it off and on. I think it'd be really good for someone who's like an auto mechanic or something like that, because you can zoom in and get really bright. It would probably be cumbersome after a long hike, but yeah, pretty cool. I'm going to add it to my bug out bag, and it's rechargeable and things like that, which is cool. So, yeah. All right, so the bug out bag is packed up. It feels medium full. It's really not that full. It weighs just a couple pounds. I don't know, like, I love this bug out bag. It has everything I need, nothing that I don't, and I can barely even tell that it's back there. Yeah, I mean, this thing is great. No complaints. It's nice and full. I have reviewed everything that's in there, so I know what's in there. I know what's not in there. But yeah, let me know if there's something that I missed and something that needs to be added to it. Maybe some redundancies that I can take out of it. There's really not a lot, just some fire starting stuff, really. I'm going to show you where I put this in my truck, and I think it's going to surprise you. All right, so I drive this Toyota Tacoma. I've had it for 10 years now, and if you know much about Tacomas, you know that there is no storage at all in these things. So I really would like probably a little bit bigger bug out bag, but I don't have anywhere to put it because I have 3 children who have to fit in this little space when we're going anywhere. So here's where I keep it. It stays right back here in this tiny compartment behind the driver's side back seat. And in it, I have my fishing pole. You've seen me fish a lot with this. And also I have some TP. And so those aren't part of the bug out bag, but with the molly and other stuff I have on there, I can attach the fishing pole to it and carry the TP if I need to. But this just folds back like that, and you never know it's there. That's it for Bug Out Bag 2.0. I'm really excited about testing this out. I'm going to do Challenge 2.0 here in a couple weeks. So make sure that you subscribe so you can see what it's like to survive out here in West Tennessee. Maybe it'll be here on my 20-acre off-grid property, or I might have to hike through some public land, and I'll make it really cool. And really, I will put things to the test. That's the best way to know what needs to be added or taken out of a bug out bag, is to simply test it out. Last time it was 40 degrees and it was really cold. We'll see what temperature it's going to be when I do the next one. It'd be cool to do it in the snow, because snow is pretty rare here in West Tennessee. But that's all I got for today's video. Comment below. Like, seriously, let me know. Is there something that I'm missing that I need to add to the bag? God bless you. And remember, God's creation is meant to be explored.